Hey everyone, welcome back to the She Interviews. We have a very exciting interview for you today with my friend Valeria Isaac. Hi Valeria, how are you?
Hello, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So Valeria's joining us from California, right?
Yes, Southern California, Aguanga.
Fantastic. Yeah, so thanks for being with us
Inland from
today.
Los Angeles, just because I realized maybe no one knows where it is. Kind of Temecula.
Okay, all right, good stuff.
But I have no wine here.
Well,
Well,
and listen, anyone that's listening in that doesn't live in California is just envious that you're in California. It doesn't matter where in California, so don't even
well,
worry about that part. So, Valeria is going to tell us her story. She is a professional. She's an entrepreneur. She's a mompreneur, actually. She's got her master's in wait, what is it?
molecular biology,
Molecular biology.
mathematics. Nothing
Wow.
to do with what I do now, actually.
Just like the rest of us, so that's fine. But so she's got a master's, and now she actually for 5 years has been running her own business, which sounds so cool, and I can't wait for her to tell us more about it. She has twin boys that are age 5,
4.5. Yeah,
4.5, 4.5. Sorry.
Yeah, next week 4.5. We still count the 6 months. I'm still there.
Yeah, they're young enough to do that. So she's got all this cool stuff going on, and on top of that, she's doing all of this with a husband and as a quadriplegic, right?
Right? Yeah. Otherwise, there's no fun, right?
And she's got a very good sense of humor. So Valeria, I don't even know where to start from with you, girl. Like, let's talk about this. I mean, you're originally from Italy, right?
I was born in Italy, and I lived part Italy. That's where I'm from. My parents are both Italian, but they moved to Switzerland for their work. They're also scientists. Well, they're retired now, but they were scientists at the time. So um, I grew up in Geneva as well. Then moved back to Italy, then moved back to Geneva where I did my college years, and then I moved to California with my husband, who's Alpha American from California. So
Wow.
I met him in Italy though, so it's kind of complicated.
You met him in
We're in
Italy when you were
Sweden
14, right?
together. Yeah, we were in high school in the same class in high school, but his mom is from San Diego. So then he would spend a lot of like every summer, and then when he was 20, I think he moved back to the States, and we've been friends on and off for 25 years. No, actually, maybe 20. Then we met again, and then we decided we wanted to stay together forever and ever.
That is
And
like
so,
the cutest story I've ever heard.
yeah, that was great. Actually, I would never expect it to happen this way, but I met my soulmate at 14
Wow. That's like
without knowing it, because I had too many things going on, and he did as well. So when you're 14, it's hard to understand all of you, but
yeah, but that's like serendipitous. I mean, that's a very rare
absolutely.
story these days, you know?
Oh yeah. I was in California doing physical therapy 10 years ago, when I was like, oh wait, Alessandro is from California. Am I right? I didn't have his phone number at the time, so I just Googled him, wrote a message like, hey, I'm in San Diego doing therapy. Are you here? And I think he was in Sweden at the time for his job, but he was living in San Francisco. So anyway, 1 week later we met. He came to visit me, and I was like, ah. And
Wow.
that was the moment.
So
I
where were you when you had your accident? Were you in Italy, Switzerland?
So at the time I was 22. I was doing my college in Switzerland,
You were in
in
Switzerland. Okay.
Geneva, but I was in Italy at the time of the accident because I went to visit my mom. It was around Christmas time, so we had a break, and I was visiting my mother. So my injury, I had an accident, and I was hospitalized in Italy. And then after 3 months, when they could move me, I went to finish, it sounds weird. I went to the hospital in Switzerland. So they moved me after 3 months. But the first 3 months were in Italy and they were awful. But then when I went to the other hospital, I kind of had some fun. I met a lot of cool people. Spent another 8 months in the hospital, having, I can't say the best time of my life, but it was a good time.
Wow. You would
Yeah.
not expect anyone to say that,
No, I guess
recovering from an
not. It
accident
might
like that.
sound a little weird, but well, it was a very nice hospital, and then I met people, and I saw the possibilities as well, and I I met other people that were going through what I was going through,
Right.
and this place was very accessible, and I think that was the real game changer. Because when I was in those 3 months in Italy, I was in a hospital where I couldn't go anywhere. Like the elevator, everything was too high. I couldn't push that. Well, I couldn't move a lot anyway. The first 3 months, I was really just sitting. They would sit me and attach me with seat belts and everything. But I
Right.
really felt like I was like in a cage kind of thing where I
Yeah.
couldn't do anything. While when I went to this other hospital, there was a lot of therapy. There was a lot of cool stuff to do. There was a pool, so I could go in the water. I could feel a lot of things that I thought I wouldn't again. So I realized that there was still a lot to do, and it was okay.
And how did you wind up in California for
So
therapy?
that was at 99, so kind of a while ago, 20 something. And then I did this about a year hospital. And then I went back to college. I actually had to go back to my mom's in Italy because, of course, when you have such an injury, you lose all your independence. And
Yeah.
that's probably the hardest part. Beside what you lose in the walking, the moving, that's all kind of devastating at the moment. Then you relearn to do things. But for me personally, the hardest part was to need help, need assistance to do things. And of course, the easiest way was to go back to my mother's place, and there I had help. And then independently again, I went to college in Switzerland where I finished all my stuff, took my master degree, lived by myself. And all that brought me to needing to do physiotherapy again because I was doing a lot of things, but not physical therapy, which is a way to control the pain and all these things that you get when you have an injury like this, because it's like becoming super old at 20. So you
Right.
really need to care for your body, and that's a tough part, I think, because you don't always want to do it. So anyway, I ended up in California because there's a very good. It actually closed at the time. It was called Project Walk in San Diego, in North San Diego, and that's where I went to do my physical therapy. I was in Miami before. That's why I was telling you about
Yeah.
Florida at the Miami Project, which is a research center there. And so I ended up in California for physical therapy, and that's where I met Danny, that you know, my friend Danny, and that's where I met a lot of other cool friends and had a great time. It's actually every time I go in some place where we do physical therapy, you end up meeting amazing people and having a lot of fun. It's cool.
That's amazing. It's, I mean, you mentioned Danny, who we've interviewed, guys. So if you're wondering about Danny's story, she also has twins. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so you can check out her interview. But talking to Danny and talking to you, you're like some of the, I want to say that, like, the energy that you give off, because obviously I'm not with you every day, and it's obviously very easy to have an interaction with someone once in a while and say, oh, they're a very pleasant person, right? But like, even just the energy that I get off from you is, it's very positive, and there's so many people in this world, right? Like, the irony of life, there's so many people in this world that have everything at their fingertips. They have, they're healthy, everything's working, they can't want for anything, and they can't seem to be happy. And then
No.
and then you lose things, right? And you have to work with your disability and challenges, but then you still, manage to look at life like it's a beautiful thing, not taking away challenges, but you're like, oh, I had a great time there. Like you're in there, you're like in rehab and you're like, I had a great time there. And then, you get married and you have kids and you have this business. Like, explain that to me.
Um, yeah, that's a very good question. So, for me, what I remember, and I remember that often. I remember that to myself. It's the happiness of being alive. I felt that when I woke up from my accident and in the hospital, I was like, I'm alive. And that's something that it's hard to describe. I think it's um, I had bad moments. I'm annoying often because when you can't do things, you get frustrated, mostly with yourself, and sometimes, unfortunately, also with the people around you, which are helping you. But you just hear that it's just your mind tells you it has to be done in a way, and you know how to do it because um, I wasn't born with a disability, so I learned to do so many things before, and I have to relearn them. And of course, my mind still sometimes just goes back to it's easy, just do it this way, And then you're like, I can't show you, and that's some challenges I have with being a mom, because sometimes you just know how to show something to your kids, but you can. So those are like harder moments. But otherwise, beside that, I am aware that life is amazing and I am lucky to be here. So I try not to forget that, I think. And that kind of gives me the center. Because even on the worst moment, I'm like happy to be here. Happy to be here, happy to have my husband, happy to have my kids, happy to have this business, happy to have my family, my mother, my brother, my father. These simple things become amazing. And when you meet people that went through the same things, I think you kind of connect deep on a deeper level because
Yeah,
they struggle like you, but also they appreciate life like you. And
absolutely.
that makes very deep unions. And it's also a little bit like being, I feel like, yeah, it's kind of a peer support that you have because you're feeling that you're in the same boat. And it's also like being kids again sometimes because we need so much help that it becomes funny, but it's a funny that you can joke on with your friends that have disabilities without sounding maybe weird, or it's very straightforward, and that makes things more fun sometimes. You don't
Yeah,
have to be careful and what you say.
right,
I,
right. And so, I mean, two things that I thought of while you were, giving me your answer is number one, that's exactly what we aim to do at the She interviews. We want to tell stories of the struggles that us moms have through career and raising kids, because it's not easy, and it's like entering into a completely different universe that you were in the day before that you became a mom.
it's
And
incredible, yeah.
no matter how much you try to prepare for it, you can't prepare for it because every woman's story is different. There's so many different variables. So, hearing another woman's story and their journey and their struggles, the struggles might not be the same, but there's something in it that creates unity for us and makes us feel like we're all in the same boat. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And then the other thing that I thought of was, just like, isn't it beautiful, the gift that you've been given out of your accident, like out of that pain, that how many people can't tap into that have everything, but they can't tap into finding that joy. And like you said, just always appreciating your mom there, your kids, your
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, I say now, but I'm not sure they always feel appreciated like I do. I do appreciate that, but sometimes like I said, I know that I'm not showing it as much. I'm like everybody else. Like I'm
I was
not.
just gonna say, oh, so you're human.
Yeah, definitely human and not average human. So I sometimes really I find myself being not not nice, and then I'm like I kind of regret it because I see myself from outside. One of the question that you asked once there was, what did you learn from becoming a mom?
Yeah.
And there's one thing that I thought afterwards, and it was that my mom did her best.
Yeah, I
And
was actually
people
going to
did
ask
her
you
best.
about how it was like growing up with your like how your late your early childhood was with your parents and stuff. So now that you're older,
Yeah,
you look.
I thought that she was more a career mom. She was a professor at the university, so kind of a cool career for a woman in the 60s, 70s, 80s,
Yes.
90s in Italy. She's a computer scientist, mathematician. So she was working a lot. And I have just one brother, younger, and I thought that she was working a lot. Maybe, and I wonder very often if my kids will think the same, and I hope not. But then I realized, becoming a mom, that she was just trying their best, and she did her best. She was just being a mom, career mom, a mom with a job, with a family, um, and that's a cool thing because sometimes you see I try to put myself outside and see myself from that point of view, and that makes me be a little nicer to myself, but especially to my mom. And I'm not always nice enough. Sometimes I realize I should be nicer because she really, I don't know how she did it with two kids. She was a lot alone because my father as well was, I mean, was a professor in another city. So he was there mostly on the weekends, but she was with us the rest of the week. So
So do you think, I mean, you're running a business right now. Do you think that you got some of that what's the word I'm looking for? Ambition from seeing your mom go to work and do that?
interesting. I think it's a good example to have your parents working.
Yeah.
I think it's the example that I want to give my kids. Then I think I ended up complaining mostly, like, when I talk maybe with my husband, we talk about our parents, or they, it's not the thing I would talk with anyone, but I felt like I wasn't at the center many times, which I wonder if it's not something that every kid feels growing up.
Yeah.
I don't want, for example, I often think I don't want to give that to my kids. I want to show them I'm working, but I want them to know I'm always available, which
Yeah.
is super difficult. I'm sure you understand that. It's probably the struggle everybody, all the women that are listening have, that being a mom and having a job and trying to be there for your kids, even when you don't have the time, but at least making them feel there is the time. They can always ask, they can always come, and that's probably my ultimate goal.
Yeah. That's the
So
big balancing act
I
for us.
I watch my mom. I know that I want to do some things differently, but I appreciate what she did a lot now, especially that I am a mom and I see how hard it was. I
Yeah.
understand how hard it was for her. I did not understand that until I became a mom.
Right. Right. Wow. So let's talk a little bit about your business because I want to make sure that we have enough time to talk about that because it's really cool. First of all, where did you get tell us what it is and then where you got the inspiration to start this business?
So my company is called Friendship, and I design actually. We handmade our products in Nepal for fair wages, and let's say the cool part. But it produces products, mostly dryables and other wool products that aim to give a reusable alternative to common households like the dryer sheets. which are made of plastic, which are toxic, contain a lot of chemicals that are very bad for us, for our kids. And so the idea behind that was to start a company which would produce things that would be good for our future and our present and our society. But I didn't want to have this product made in the old business model, Chinese mostly, of competition and doing things in a cheap way without caring for the people who are making them, for the material that you're using, for the animals. If, like in this case, we're using wool, we pay a lot of attention in the sourcing, in the certification, cruelty-free, humane treatment, all these things that are very important to me. And the people that make that handmade these products, I wanted them to be rewarded. I wanted them to be proud to work for friendship. And the ultimate goal is for me also to reduce the use of plastic that we do, I would say, in our society, because these products are for the first world, because they you use them in the dryer, so it's not like you're producing something that everybody uses. But we do use a lot of dryer here in the States, and we use dryer sheets. We use them, we throw them, and it's hard. We don't often think how much things we throw away, and these things contain plastic. And when you throw away, there's no way. They remain. They could just go somewhere else.
Right.
And plastic for me is a big issue. I've always been very concerned about the environment, and being able to do something that eliminates as the single-use dryer sheets, for example, which is what happens when you use dryables. It's amazing. You're saving energy because the dryer run on shorter cycles, because the dryables had to dry faster as well. So
Wow.
it's a win-win. You're actually you buy them once and they last for like 4 years, 3, 5, depending how many loads you do. And then when they're done, you can compost them, you can reuse them. It's just wool. It is.
And
It,
this softens your clothes?
yes, it softens your clothes because it makes them dry evenly. So the bouncing of the dryables in the dryer open up your clothes so the air flows better, which makes them dry faster, and so you reduce your drying time. And also it makes them when they dry more evenly, they don't get the staticky very that it's often due to over drying. And it's also due to synthetic fibers. So synthetic fibers in general would produce more static, but if you natural fabrics, they usually don't, unless you over dry them. And that happens a lot with dryers when you don't use dryables, which make everything dry evenly and stop the dryer earlier, saving energy. Not using dryer sheets, you can send them with essential oils, which are natural, and they're not. Yeah, you can have your lavender naturally.
I knew nothing about this. I
Oh
knew
no,
nothing.
no, they're amazing. When I started this, there were not many people using them. I think I was one of the first. I bought my first set maybe 10 years ago when I came to California for these 3 months of physical therapy. I didn't want to use these dryer sheets also because they contain a lot of allergenics and fragrances, and they don't really tell you how much in which quantities they are, because they don't have to. So there's a lot of cases of allergies that come up, irritations, especially in kids. So, and I already at the time used to take medicine and stuff, and I didn't want to take more of these things with my clothes, because they stick on your clothes, and then you put them on your clothes all day, you sleep in the sheets, so you absorb them with your skin. So it's like, okay, let's try this bulge. And I was amazed, and I was like, wow, that's a product. That's cool. And then at some point I decided I wanted to start a company. Uh, I was doing my PhD at the time in biology, but
I have
I
like
don't
so many
know.
questions. Like I'm listening to you, you're telling your story, and like as you're telling the story, like I have so many questions as I don't know, just even like a person, like I don't even know. I mean, I'm like, okay, um, she's she starts this company, you have twins, you have a disability, like you care about the environment, and you're sourcing, not only do you start a company, but you're like sourcing stuff in Nepal. I'm like, how did you put this all together? How did you go from, being a master's in biology to learning how to have a startup company? Like, how? Tell us.
I
How
think
do you do all
master
this
of
stuff?
biology. So environment was always something I loved, animals
Okay.
and environment. So as a kid, I was like, I'm gonna grow up and be an ethologist. That was my dream. Go to Arctic or Antarctic and study polar bears and study penguins. Then go to Africa, hippos. That was my big dream.
Wow.
Then I got to college, which I was lucky to go because having two parents professors. It's like you have to go to college, right? There's
Yeah.
no option. There's no
Yeah.
plan B.
Totally.
So I was like, okay, well, I used to like also a lot of painting and doing other stuff. I was like, okay, I'll do it. I was good in school and I liked the science. So I was like, okay, I can do that. I can work with animals. So I started biology, and I was like, it was the time of the genetics and all the emotional, all the things about the genome. So I was like, oh, that's cool stuff. So I ended up going in the genetic branch, which was good because then I got this injury. And so going to Arctica, Antarctica, that sounded complicated. So I was like, okay, maybe I won't be able to study animals in the wild. So I better stick to genetics and bioinformatics. And that's how I did my master, and I was lucky enough to get the chance to do the PhD because my master was pretty good, my research. So they funded to develop it, and that was in Geneva. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So big achievement for me because I had those 2 years in between where I had the injury. Was a tough to go back to study, right? After being out, my friends were already 2 years after. I mean, how do I say? I had to enroll again with younger than me, of course, because I lost 2 years. So
Right.
from being the first, I was kind of the last one, the oldest.
Right.
And so anyway, after that, I realized that being inside in front of a computer didn't seem like what I wanted to do as a kid. I mean, I studied biology to be in the environment and with the animals in the wild, and I ended up being in a lab. And I was like, that's not the life I want. And that's when I said, okay, I kind of paused my PhD. And then after a few years, I decided that I just needed to do something else. Also, because I was doing a lot of physical therapy to take a little more care of myself. And so it was very complicated to go wait 3 months and then come back and go again to do your research. It doesn't work this way, right? It's
Yeah.
very, you have to be on top of it. So that's when I was like, I have to find a job that I can do from home. I would like to be a mom one day. So that's how I started brainstorming, and I did a class. I enrolled in a class of online commerce. I think I don't even remember.
Okay.
And I studied some things, but they all would give you those models where buy from Alibaba, China, sell on Amazon, make quick money. I don't know. That didn't sound like me at all. And
Yeah.
that's how I started thinking about what are the products that make sense. What do I want? What do I want to do? What's the change I want to see in the world? What can I do? And I started small, packing my little things with my husband on the table and
But
saying,
but wait, I need to stop you for a second, guys, because
"Here,
or Valeria, because guys, listen, that's not small. Like, I just want to point something out. You were doing research, right? You're like, your first thought was, I want to do something at home, right?
yeah,
Then you do some research, like, how can I make money at home? You find out some stuff, like you said, make money fast, whatever. And you're like, F that noise. You're like, I'm going to do this my way. So that's not a small thing. Like, I understand what you're saying, that like you're starting your business out so small, but mentally, for most people, that's a brave thing, a big thing. because
Thanks.
a lot of people don't get past that and say, no matter what, I'm going to pursue my passion. People might say, like, oh, I want to have my own business. Let me see what I can handle. Let me see what I think I can handle. Let me see, what I think will be easy. And then they get into something, doing it because they think it's going to be easy. And then they find out that they're miserable because they're not passionate about it. They're not giving, having self-expression. And on top of that, it's hard. It's still hard.
Always.
So yeah, so I needed to highlight that because that's a trap a lot of people seeking to be entrepreneurs fall into. And you didn't. So,
No,
bravo.
I think you're right. That's a very good point. You really need to follow your passion. And I mean, my passion wasn't like a dryer ball. It's not that. The passion is what what makes me feel good. Do I want to sell something that doesn't make me feel good because I get the money out of it? So sometimes I think you might not have a choice. I won't judge that, I was also lucky to have the choice to say, okay, I'll start this. I hope it's going to work. um, I had a little buffer for a few months. And I was with my husband already, so he had his job. So I knew that if something was going wrong, I wouldn't be just alone. So I think sometimes you don't have the choice. But I also think you always have to try to follow your dream, or anyway, something that you believe in,
Yes.
because that's the only way you can put the work in, and you can put the passion, and you can do sacrifices that are not really sacrifices, because that's you. That's something you're doing for yourself as well. And I mean, if you get the money, that's important, because you do a job because you need that too. But
Right. But you said, like, because it's you got to feed your passion, but that's also the way that you're going to give the best gift to someone else. That's also the way that you're going to give the best value to somebody else.
yes.
Someone might say, like, oh, well, it's not about me. I just want to take care of people, or I just want to help people. The best way to help people is by doing what you're passionate about, because people are going to follow you, are going to love your brand, are going to want to buy from you because of your story and why you're doing things. So you said, it's not like my dream was dryer balls. I didn't think your dream was dryer balls. I got what you were saying.
Yeah,
Before I
no,
even
I
get the
even say it
picture.
to myself sometimes, not like, how did I end up doing dryables? But dryables, it's just, for me, means something better for the world, less plastic, job for people in Nepal, women, artisans, women with disabilities that just, they need the job that we give them. And it's a community that thrives because we produce this. And also here, people are happy, and they are happy, and we get, if you end up in the website, we have so many amazing reviews. Like, I couldn't believe when we just introduced the reviews like a year ago, not even, and we got, I guess, thousands, I don't know, but 5 stars review, people saying, I'm so happy. I don't have to use any more dryer sheets, and I don't know, my kids don't have allergies, and you feel good. You're like, wow, I'm doing something good. No
Yeah.
more plastic for me in the laundry. And I'm like, whoa, that is so cool. It's just, everything makes
There's like
sense.
literally nothing in the world that could possibly make you happier about your work, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have so many other ideas. It's not like that's the only thing. I would like to do other stuff as well.
No, I'm saying the
And I don't
reviews,
know.
like when you get that feedback.
Oh yeah, no, it's happiness. Like, it's a good feeling. You're like, yes, that's
So
good. That's good.
tell us, speaking of reviews on your website, tell everybody where they can go get a dryer balls from you. Where'd you
So
go?
our website, it's called Friendship Wool, Friendship like the animal sheep, wool.com. And you can even just, I think you Google friendship, we come up
That's
pretty,
fantastic.
we're first, maybe some ads. And on the website, we have a lot of types. You might be able to see them behind, right? There, that
Yeah,
little sloth.
an owl. Is that an owl?
That one, I think, is a sloth.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we also have owls, but they're not out yet. That's a new.
yeah. Let's see it.
Yeah. Uh, this is a sloth. So I design these little animals. That's my job. Here, there.
So cute.
No, I'm so bad at it. So this is a dryer roll. They're usually just plain white. We also have the plain ones, but I have fun with this.
That's
So
fantastic.
yeah. Anyway, these are the kind of. That's where I get the fun. It's in designing these things here.
Yeah,
And so they make them by hand. So the artisans, they would just roll the wool with soap and water, dry them on the roof. There's a video that you can see also on our website. So
yeah.
we make everything by hand. And then these amazing ladies that work for us, uh, they work the design. They make it. It's called needle felting with the needle, and they just go tat 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 with the speed that you can. Oh, you don't see the needle how fast they are, and they make these designs by hand
Wow.
on each ball. So each one is different, similar but different, and they're all handmade. And one of the reasons why our job for them is so cool is because they're moms. Most of them are moms, and they work from home. My dream. So I'm actually giving them my dream. They can work from home, so they go to the workshop, get the balls. So some work at the workshop, about 50 people, 60 people. There's also a few men because it's also hard to roll them. And then the finished balls, they come, they pick them up, take them home, do their work, their time, their hours that they want, and then bring them back and get paid for each ball that they design, that
Ha-
they do the design on.
have you been out there?
Yes, yeah, finally. And by the way, we have about 300 women that do this. So like all the village around, they
So
work
you
for
employ
free.
300 women, mostly
Yeah.
moms, and
Yes.
you're like doing really good stuff for the environment, people with
Yes.
allergies, things like that.
Absolutely. These are good for the
Amazing.
environment because they cut drying time, so you don't use as much energy, and because you don't need the softener, so you don't use the plastic bottle of the softener. You don't pollute. It's just plain
I'm
wool,
so
very
excited to try
easy.
this.
And
So
then you
excited.
just when you're tired of them, you can reuse them. There's a lot of tutorials how to reuse them.
Everybody's getting one for Mother's Day and for Christmas. Everybody.
Yeah, and there's also a little heart there. You might be able to see the white and red heart. That's
Yes.
our like Valentine's bestseller, and there's a lot of colors. So I'm having fun with this. I have to
Yeah,
admit.
I'm having fun listening to you about it. So, okay, I want to switch gears just because we're running out of time. I could talk
Sure.
about this forever because I love hearing about, businesses and the creation of it and everything. But really quick, I want you to give some advice to some struggling moms, okay? I'm going through an identity crisis. I have kids. I'm trying to figure out myself and I feel uncomfortable in my skin and I don't know what to do. Like, give me some advice. What have you learned that you could tell a mom struggling in that position what to do?
Um, to I struggle. So
Yeah.
I think struggling it's normal. That's the first thing that we have to um, let sink in. So it's very disorienting, but it's also very normal. I think being a mom implies struggling. If you're not struggling, or you're a Wonder Woman, or something is wrong. I don't know. No, maybe it's not true. Maybe there's someone who really has everything nailed it, but I don't. I struggle. I would love to give more time and the work, and I think you have to be nice to yourself. I am very bad at self care. Like I get that everybody tells me you have to take care of yourself before, and I completely understand that. I'm still not doing it,
Yeah.
and it's okay. I think you have to be nicer to yourself. If you're struggling, if you're not able to do something, it's okay, and that's something I guess I learned with disability. You cannot do something, it sucks. You feel upset, you feel like you're depressed, but it's okay, it's normal. And you just have to let it go, I think. Just cry it out if it's needed. Yeah, let it just sink in, scream, cry, and then just enjoy life, because there's only one. At least that's how I live it. And so be
Yeah,
happy.
I mean, it's simple advice, but it's big advice, really. And what you just said,
It's very simple, but that's what I try to tell myself when I have those bad days. I'm like, okay, I have to just shut off everything. The only thing you don't shut off, it's your kids.
yeah,
I mean, you might be on the bed and sleep, and that's a way of shutting them off. But then if they come and they cuddle, it's always good, right?
yeah.
So
But the thing that you said was, first of all, be nice to yourself, and that
yes,
like if you just knowing that everyone else is struggling, like if you're not struggling, who are you?
who are
And
you really?
yeah, and so like knowing that th- this is a season of life where you're supposed to have struggle, and if you embrace that struggle and that pain, you can grow. You can grow in ways that you never thought that you could, unless instead of just wallowing in that
Yeah,
struggle,
I didn't
right?
know it was so hard to be a mom.
Yeah.
And,
I know. Yeah.
and I cannot even say I wish somebody had told me, because I don't think I would have understood.
No.
Maybe they told me and I didn't get it, you know?
Oh yeah, it's like everything in life. Like I just was on in a Facebook group the other day, and someone's like, "I'm about to have my first baby, and for
I'm like,
like
yay.
I want a meal plan, and how long should I meal plan for?" And I answered her, and I was like, "Well, first of all, I can't help you with meal planning because that is just so out of my department." But I just
Meal
told her,
for herself.
like meal prepping, like
Oh,
making, like freezing them so that she didn't have to worry about cooking.
sure.
And it was like, how long do I have to do this for? And it's just like, well, not really sure how, I mean, are you gonna have a C-section? Are you having a vaginal? Like, I mean, some people are up and at 'em after a week, and some people are like still hurting after 3 weeks. Like, it's just
Yeah.
everybody's so different. So even when you're getting advice from somebody, they're giving their advice from their own experience. So sometimes it's really hard to give that kind of specific advice. But I think it's more where we can help each other is kind of giving mindset advice, right? Like what
The mindset, the thing I want to say to everyone is that you are doing your best. And I think that's something you have to keep in mind. What
Yeah,
you're doing, it's great. It's amazing. You're the only one who can do what you're doing.
right. That's
You're
right.
being a mom, which is the hardest job and the biggest accomplishment and beautiful thing you can do. So um, yeah, I know you doubt of yourself. We all doubt of ourselves, but we shouldn't. I think what we do is incredible. We give life, and and not only we give, it's not just that moment, right? It's all the years after and all the and I have a wonderful husband and my kids love him, but mom is mom,
Yeah,
and I love this. I feel like it's really the best accomplishment. Even if I love my job, and I it's hard to get both and the both world and be happy in both all the time. But I think the biggest job we have is being mom, and that just comes by itself with the struggles.
absolutely. Man,
It's
what a
an amazing job, moms. We are amazing.
see, you hear that? You hear that, moms? And you forget it. Valeria, thank you so much for sharing your
You.
beautiful story with us. I'm sure you just inspired many women to not only, start that business that they wanted to, but start the real business that they're afraid to start because they want it so
Yes,
bad.
yeah, just do it, because if you believe in it, there's so many other people out there who are waiting for that thing that you believe in, because they believe the same thing. Just be
100%.
true to yourself.
I love it.
And yeah, good luck. And if you need any advice, I'm here.
Yes, reach out to Valeria. She is
Absolutely. I'd be happy. We have to help each other, right?
absolutely.
It's
That's
all
right.
about
That's
that.
right, moms.
Win-win.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next
Thank
time on the
you.
She Interviews.
Thank you so much.